Good day, cricket fans, and welcome back to the IslandStats.com Cricket Show. It's Sunday, which means it's time to dive deep into all the action from the local pitches right here in Bermuda. We'll be dissecting the weekend's clashes, celebrating standout performances, and looking ahead to what's next in the 2025 season. Whether you were at the grounds or following online, we've got all the angles covered, so grab your coffee, settle in, and let's talk cricket. Well, good evening and welcome to this edition of the Island Stats Cricket Show. I'm your host, Earl Baston, joining our co-hosts Terry Frey and Andre Doc Manders. We have the president of St. George's Cricket Club joining us at the bottom of the hour. But we're talking cut match, gentlemen. We witnessed over a 2-day period runs, wickets, and we'll get into obviously behavior, deportment. But first, Terry, let's talk a little bit about. We'll start day by day. So let's talk a little bit about. Obviously, we've been talking, and I've been adamant that someone like Taryn had to go back to open. Bayless Bay had him batting number 3, number 4, and it just wasn't working for him. But he showed in the trial match and carried that into cup match after winning the toss and going to bat. It was the right move to start off with. You agree?
Oh yeah, most definitely. So for whatever reasons, Taryn was batting in number 3 or 4 in Bay's team. It could have been the makeup of the batting order. If the type of players that are involved in the Bay team. But, when you got probably one of your best open bats batting out of position, it doesn't do well, especially when in leading up the cup match. But it was good to see him, open up in the final trial. He got a good knock there. And then, of course, that gave him the confidence for him to then lead from the front in cup match. Yeah. And at the end of the day, done well in both innings. So, it was 2 good innings from him, for sure.
Yeah. Doc, you mentioned as we were on the air last week about going, the year you went into cup match with no runs or struggling with the bat. Something I think Trey was kind of mentally managing himself, because usually we've seen him score a lot of runs. He hasn't really done that much this year up to date, but getting settled in cup match was I guess a confidence booster for him, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would say so. I think he had an injury, when he went on the injury early in I say midway the season, right after the smash, and he kind of never recovered, because you remember they went right away with the Bermuda the national team, and he got treatment. He was getting the right treatment. He kind of recovered. He didn't play the first couple of games, and so that injury just came again. Cup match. I mean, he was fine before cup match. Played in the trial, didn't get much runs, but he was most of the times in St. George. I don't know what it is. He seems to always get runs in St. George's. Because you remember he got those runs with Gennaro. He got 100. They broke up, and Gennaro broke their record. Mm-hmm. And he somehow down St. George's. I don't know if he likes that ground battle or what, but and it was unfortunate. I think when he was on about 13 or 14, he got an injury. He got injured trying to cut a ball, and he said he felt it right away. I think it was the same injury, but it was good that he was he was betting with Tarrant, so Tarrant was basically helping him along. Made sure that he was he was comfortable betting, even though he was out of form. So when you got when you bet with Tarrant, and before he was Chris Douglas. When he played early in cup match, it was always Chris, Douglas, Tarrant, and Trey in the top 3.
Right.
So if one got out early, if Tarrant got out early, Chris would mentor him coming in, or if Chris got out early. So he was lucky to be playing with two good youngsters. I mean, 2 good openers.
Right.
So and him a turn bets about anyway, and it was I'm just glad that that injury didn't really I would say like mess up for the rest of the 2 days. Like,
Right.
you know, he got the right treatment right off his, and he was able to. He's even able to feel it out. But you can see even when he was running, he was still hurting a bit. So I'm just glad he got some runs. Got some runs, and they was able to get a good partnership with to put St. George's kind of not out of it, but at least that 130 or 40 run partner. I'm sorry, about 80 run partnership, but that kind of set the tune for Somerset in the first day.
Yeah. For the second straight year, Somerset got off to a
Yeah,
flying start with
line start.
Karen and Kamal building something right from the start. You know, despite being dropped or whatever, Kamal went on to score 46, and you put on 70 for the first wicket, and then another 78 for the second wicket. That's basically guys in the pavilion now settled into okay, this could be a good day for us because you're 148 for 2.
Yeah.
And when it instead of 48 for 2, which is a big difference. But just looking at the way, I guess, Terry, looking at the way Somerset have set themselves up in the batting lineup, and we talked about it. They had bats right down to 10. Getting that good start, what would have been that talk in that changing room or in the pavilion?
Yeah, so when you looked at them winning the toss and batted, that tells you right there and then that they backed the batter.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just shows you that they're like very, very confident of what the plan will be, But I always felt that they were going to try to get 350 and put a lot of pressure on St. George's. They were a little bit short. I think even Gennaro said that they came up a bit short because I think he was saying 330, 350. And then that would have set them up to put St. George's under pressure. And then, try to just bet once, in that game,
Right.
But it didn't happen that way because, the middle order sort of did not come to the game or to the betting the way that they expected. But 290 was a good score. It's a good score for them to be able to set up the Berlin and the fielding.
Yeah. Were either of you surprised Thursday evening with the amount of overs that maybe Dion and Derek had built?
You mean they lack of or?
Yeah, they lack of. Yeah, they lack of.
Yeah, because see the wicket weren't taking much turn, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then obviously Dowry got into him a little bit.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And I just felt that the wicket was assisting the seamers a little bit more than the spinners were.
Right.
So the seamers sort of took the brunt of that burden on that first day.
Yeah, I totally agree. Maybe the second day the wicket took a little bit more turn, but that the first day she was just basically just
flat.
keeping on. Yeah, flat. And it was a little turn for some of the bowlers, but at that time, Delray and Onias was really taking a whole of the spin. So I think it was good that they brought back the medium. Malachi build. I mean, this is the first time I've seen Malachi build so many overs. And, even Malachi looked like he was serious and Kamal. They both built, good spells, man. They built 5-6 overs in that heat. So, and if you look at it, it kind of contained them because at that time, and they was on top, they were scoring very quickly until those two came back on and slid it down a bit.
Right.
Until the next day.
Yeah.
And then the next day they continued on, and ending up, even though Delray didn't get a century, but they still built pretty tight to the early in the morning.
Yeah,
we had that rain about, the rain helped that play for a little while too.
Right.
But I still thought those two guys built exceptionally good in the morning too. Yeah.
I mean, and you got to give your props to Malachi. You know, very experienced. You know, he's using variation and his line and length was really, really good. You know? And I think they identified also that if you allow Del Rey to use his arms, right, then he'll just beat you.
Right.
But they sort of build a lot straighter to him, and then of course it's easier to defend that if you're hitting straight. You know what I mean? Both sides of the field are short. You know, so the idea is to try to get Del Rey to hit long.
Straight down the ground. Yeah,
that was very effective when those guys were building to Del Rey the next day. They built straighter at him.
That's a very good point, Terry, because when the first day, when the spinners were building to him, Onias and Del Rey, they were sitting to the shorter part. They was taking them outside. You know, they was going across the line.
That's right.
You know, both of them, you know, are good hitters of the ball. So and even when those guys did try to build outside the Orsup, I'm talking about the spinners. Del Rey was just going across the wicket and hitting them, you know, right over the boundary. And I think Onias done the same thing too with the spinners. So, you know, so that was one of the game plan in the next day was even before that, early, you know, before the game ended on the first day was to bring those medium guys and they build straight, like Terry said, build straight at the wicket, let them hit long, you know, and it slowed down. It actually slowed down both of them, even getting and it ended up getting Onias out LBW.
That's right. Because he had to manufacture a shot. You know? Because they weren't allowing him to use his arms anymore.
Exactly.
So once it goes straight at him, you know, if he misses, they're gonna hit.
Right.
And that's what happened there. You know.
It
was good strategy on Summers' part. Let's put it the next morning. They definitely had a better bowling plan.
I even thought Mikhail Walker, when he peeled his loose spout at him too, that he contained him a bit too before those guys came back. You know, I think he built 4 or 5 overs, and when I looked, I said, "Hold on, they're not hitting him." And you know, right away, you know, Taryn, you know, said, "Well, I'm gonna bring back my best bowlers," and it kind of worked.
Yeah, it worked.
Definitely worked.
Yeah. Obviously, when you know chasing 290 after being out in the field early in the day and getting to that last session, obviously everybody's got to start thinking how for us Somerset, how do we stop these runs, and for St. George's, how do we keep the runs going and not lose any more wickets. You know, and as we always know, one ball can get you out, but you know at times you have to realize that what is the run total, how is our run rate going. I know, and see, cup matches about time as well, but when you have what you need in each over, sometimes you have to say, okay, let's change gears a little bit and so forth and so forth. But you know, when you don't have the cup, you gotta try so many different variations of manufacturing runs and so forth. And Doc, you've been in that position where sometimes you take a guy out of his element by saying, listen, I need you to be as aggressive as you can to you know knock these guys offside kind of thing. And I'm talking about Indian batting. Just show that discipline for this period. Just hang in there for this period and I mean for the team kind of thing.
Yeah, once Del Rey got out, they had to go to plan B. Because they weren't going to be able to accelerate that fast or that to try to chase that 291 down as whatever if Del Rey was still in. So by Del Rey getting out, they had to come up with plan B, which is try to get as close as possible with the minimum of time. Hence the reason why Sinclair decided to declare.
Because now it's a game of you've already lost 2 hours and 50 minutes. You know what I mean? You lost one total session. So now you're down to 2 sessions, and by the time you declare, you're down to almost one session. And you're hoping to blow them out or get them in trouble where you know where a panic sets in of sorts. But you know, as we've already indicated, you know, you look at a team like Somerset, right down to 10, somebody's going to really bat up. You know, and even the Colts from Somerset, getting ducks but coming back the next day,
Yes.
to settle themselves into. Unfortunately, Dalen didn't get a second chance, but
Mm.
if you look at the response from the other two, they made a good account of themselves.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they did. Yeah,
Most definitely in St. George's.
Yeah.
Because yeah, and we talked about that last year, and last week, that bringing the Colts in at St. George's,
Yeah.
it
was going to be tough.
Always going to be tough, for both of them, especially Tomlinson,
Yes.
that he, left to go back. But I thought he held himself. He batted really well the second innings.
Yeah.
Really well.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
And I must say, he kept wickets very well too. He was very clean.
Exactly.
Right.
Very clean and tidy.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm very impressed.
Yeah. Let's take our first commercial break, and when we come back, we'll pick up on the Colts performances over the 2 days. We'll be right back.
You ever crack open a Coke and just perfect?
It's that cold classic hit that never lets you down.
Whether you're chilling with friends or just need a break, you can't go wrong with Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Nothing else compares.
Proudly distributed by Butterfield and Vallis.
Planning a summer get-together? Start with Barrett's Mixers. From club soda to tonic water and everything in between. Whether it's a backyard barbecue or a beachside picnic, Barrett's has the perfect mix for your summertime drinks. Stock up, cool down, and mix it your way. Available now at Lindo's, distributed by John Barrett & Sons. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Beneath the cloud blue sky, where the ocean meets the line, and the long tail fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day for over 135 years. It's been clear, British silence, proudly Bermudian. Bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian.
And welcome back. Doc, you're back. Looking at the way the Colts performed. Obviously, the first day it was unfortunate for the Somerset guys having to go in. A player like Alex Dorr playing remotely out of position. He's primarily one of those guys who likes the ball coming onto the bat a lot faster. He started out as a youngster in the middle order, but then moved up the order. So, he finds himself in a little struggle. And then unfortunately for Zerai and for Dalen, you get out without scoring. Tough way to start cut match. But overall, looking at the way they handled themselves, what was your impressions of? We'll start with Dalen. I only want to start with Dalen because he didn't get a second chance to kind of quote unquote redeem himself. So, but what did you think of Dalen, Terry?
Okay, so I think Dalen batted twice.
He did bat twice.
He betted the second time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He got caught out. I think mid wicket, ran it.
Oh yes, he got 40 day. Yes, he got 42nd day. Yeah,
he got 42nd day. Got caught on the boundary.
Right. I think the first one came off. I think he went to hook or something, and he was came off his chest or his shoulder or something. But so Dalen, it was unfortunately the first innings. All right, so we put that aside. But I felt that he had a great opportunity the way the game was set up in the second innings, to just take his time. You know what I mean? And just work the ball around. But he went into that mood where he just wanted to hit the ball, and ended up, hitting the ball in here and getting caught out quite comfortably, actually. But I just thought that he missed out on the second innings where he could have just been a little bit more patient, and use some batsmanship, and score a few runs. But I think he missed out on that.
Yeah. And give us, Doc, your opinion.
I think both. And Dale, I think both times he got out on the hook shot too. The first time it was a hook. I think I don't know. He said the client came off his shoulder, and then the second time I think it was somebody else bunts him and was a hook shot again. So that would be something that he probably need to work on. Sometimes these guys, got a game plan for certain players. I don't know if that was St. George's game plan after they saw him got out the first time, hooking, and they just done it again. So maybe he's got to realize that if they're setting him up, it's got to be more aware of the field placing. Leave it, or if you don't want to hook, if they got somebody you ain't sure, you could just duck underneath it. But the main thing is bet long, like Terry said that the second innings he should have at least try to get some runs on in his belt, stay there, get and just get the feel of cup match. What I mean? But the shot that he played, like I said, was the sanding hook shot. But I tell you what, I was impressed with his fielding. He was he was pretty tidy on the field. You didn't have to worry about that to hide him and stuff. His ground fielding was okay. But I think just worked on a few things in cup match, especially on his batsmanship, looking at the field and try not to we all saw what was happening on Thursday and Friday with the banter and the sledging. Try not to get involved. That either those guys are learning and just try to concentrate on betting. And I think the whole three of the Colts was getting the same thing. Not only the Colts, but most of every player that went out there. So, and that's part of the game, but it's when it goes too far.
Yeah,
man, and we also what happened. I don't know if that was part of our game plan too. So with the Colts, especially Dylan, just got to realize that just leave this guy's lane, play his game, and if not, if you don't do that there, because cup matches, it's 1 year. It's not like like you said, 2 chances to bet. So it's unfortunate that he got out that way, and we all know that he could bet, but you just got to make sure that when you get the time, you have to perform.
Yeah. Doc, Zarai, give me your opinion on him.
Oh, Zarai, I think he was unfortunate in the first innings.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Yeah,
ball.
He had to go ball, stay low. But it was what happened before that. And we all knew that was going to happen, being that he left St. George's and stuff. But that was a very good ball at that time. Zico was at his best. He ended up getting 4 or 5 wickets. Right. He came back. I don't know if that was his second or third spell. He came from
his tail was definitely up.
Yeah. And he was building a nice little fire. He had bunts. He got a few guys, bunts them out. And he was great. He was building a wicket to wicket at that spell. I think he really built well. And that one for Sarai to come in at that time, and he was up. Zico was up for it. Yeah. And I think he just played all around that ball. It looked like it stayed low. It looked like it was hitting the stumps. It was a little bit unlucky. But then again, come the second innings. And he came out there, and you could see his batsmanship. His batting is it's got a good technique, a good head on him.
Yeah, and he back up the park.
Exactly, he was playing it straight up the middle. Yeah. And he didn't get the some balls he left alone. He's really playing in his comfort zone, making sure that he kept, like we said, in the V up right up in the park, and there's the shots. He was basically playing to his shot selection, and that was good to see.
Yeah. What about I know you mentioned it a little earlier, Terry, but what about his wicket keeping performance?
Yeah, he's got good technique, and he can only get better. You know what I mean? But but he has good technique, good footwork, and watches the ball closely. You know, I saw where he has soft hands when he's collecting the ball. You know, and collecting the ball most times with both hands. You know, which is a good sign if a keeper, even going on the leg side. He didn't try to get it with one hand. He tried to get it with two hands. You know, which is a good sign of a good keeper. So I would think that he could only get better. Summers has got a jam in him. You know, and I could see him playing cup match for Summers for quite some time.
Yeah, yeah. And
I think, no, I was just going to say, for a tall person, he's pretty tall as a big keep, and he's still able to get down. Like you said, he's got his glove work is very good.
Yeah.
But anything I would like to see, well, that will come eventually too. It's just to be more sort of like talk a little bit more to the bowlers what he sees or the captain. And like I said, this is his first game. You eventually seeing that. I don't know if it's the captain for the under 19s or
yes, he is.
See, and after a while that will come. You know what I mean? Being captain for the under 19 team, he's gonna be a real good asset to Taryn for Taryn too, because both of them will be he'll be captain on 19s. Eventually, he might be going to the senior team. Then Mancini packs it in, so it's good to have another person coming in on the Taryn to at least that has been that being captain of a team. So that's good that's gonna be very good for him too going forward.
Yeah, definitely. And finally, for the Somerset team, their coach, give us your opinion, Terry, of Alex Dorr.
Yeah, so Alex got a good start in the second innings. Let's just go back to the first innings, right? So Zico got him out in the first innings.
Yeah,
but the ball before he got out was the ball that actually got him out, right? Because he played a similar shot outside the off stump, and the ball it looked like it moved away from him a touch, right?
Right.
And he missed it, but he didn't seem to be up for the ball. You know what I mean? Like he didn't seem to be assertive enough. He just lunged at the ball. And then, of course, the very next ball came. It was a similar ball. And I just felt that he was a little bit lazy with his footwork. If he would have got his feet going towards the ball, he would have played quite comfortably. The second innings, he was a lot better, a lot more assertive. You could see in his body language, he seemed to be a lot more assertive. So hence the reason why he got a good start,
right
to the innings. But again, he gets out by hitting the ball in the air, So, again, as maturity takes place, then these guys will start understanding batsmanship, and this is where we need to talk to our batsmen about batsmanship, game situations, match scenarios, what's required at that particular time of the match, what's got to be required. So, the more they play and with proper coaching, so that they can be enlightened of what's required in different scenarios.
Yeah,
what would have been it will help him tremendously, most definitely, because he's a good batsman and he can hit the ball.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what we're gonna do, we're gonna take our second commercial break because we do have the president of St. George's Cricket Club standing by, ready to join us. So he'll be with us right after this commercial break. We'll be right back.
Planning a summer get-together? Start with Barrett's Mixers. From club soda to tonic water and everything in between. Whether it's a backyard barbecue or a beachside picnic, Barrett's has the perfect mix for your summertime drinks. Stock up, cool down, and mix it your way. Available now at Lindo's, distributed by John Barrett & Sons. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Beneath the clear blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset. And every single day for over 135 years, it's been clear, Lady Silence proudly Bermuda, bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Lady Silence proudly Bermudian.
You ever crack open a Coke and just... perfect.
It's that cold, classic hit that never lets you down.
Whether you're chilling with friends or just need a break, you can't go wrong with Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Nothing else compares.
Proudly distributed by Butterfield and Vallis.
And welcome back. Well, we want to welcome in the president of St. George's Cricket Club, Michel Painter. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Evening, guys. How are you guys doing?
Good evening. Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Michel, first of all, let's talk cup match. Give us your opinion of the overall, I guess, the entire cup match for St. George's Cricket Club.
I think it was probably one of the most organized cup matches people have seen from what I hear from everybody. They really loved coming down to Wellington Oval this year. I think the grounds were amazing. I think the game was something that people haven't seen for a while, a contest. The contest at times went over the line before the game, during the game from both teams. And it's something that the executives and management of St. George's Cricket Club and the Somerset Cricket Club need to have a serious discussion on, because some of the stuff before the game, you saw the reactions of it during the game.
Okay. Well, being you opened the can of Coke that we saw in the commercial, let's talk about it. We've known for years that there's banter amongst players in cup match. We've seen some, I would say, some outrageous things happen, both on and off the field, that kind of have been with a brush under the carpet kind of thing. So when can we see both clubs kind of put things in place that's going to prevent what we saw, not just on cup match, but what we see week in and week out?
I would say that cricket has a code of conduct, and that code of conduct isn't generally followed by the BCUA on a weekly basis. And my club is looking at what has come from the BCUA, and we will follow the recommendations that they have set forward in terms of fines and whatnot. And hopefully the other side does the same thing.
Okay, so what you're indicating is that you haven't seen an umpire's report, but
we've seen one. So our players have been issued with some level 1s and some level 2s, and the consequences that will be merited out to those individual players. Some of the stuff before the game goes past level 1s and level 2s to the integrity of the person who done what they done, and the level of disrespect that they shown to the St. George's Cricket Club and all its members, executive, and the like.
Okay. So I think what one of the issues would be, will the level 1s, the level 2s from the St. George's Cricket Club standpoint be made public? I only say that is because if the people that are coming to watch cricket or watching the game don't know what the punishments are or what the levels are for whatever they saw that they deemed inappropriate, if they don't know or understand what the rules and regulations or the penalties are, then they seem as if it's all for naught.
Oh, we all have Google. So if they don't know what a level 1 or level 2 is in cricket and what that punishment is, then they have every option that we do as the 4 people are here to actually, to research it.
Right. No. What I'm saying is, I know. Well, we all know what a level 1 and a level 2 is, but what I'm trying to say is the people that are issued the level 1s and level 2s. If you're playing international cricket, right after the match, the player who's penalized is named, and the penalty is a judge next to his name, so everybody knows what the penalty was, what the incident was, what the penalty was, and what the player comes on, what the penalty is for the player.
Yeah, so that's something that I guess myself and my executive have to have a discussion with some cities to see if they actually do want to name all of the offenses that actually happened in Cup Match 2025. And if they do want to name everything that happened before the game and during it, we're more than happy to do that.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any questions from any of you guys?
Yeah, I'm got one. I'm glad to hear you say that both clubs need to deal with the on field behavior and off the field, because we had talked about it last week. That we mentioned that all the people that's watching here overseas, and it doesn't look good for both teams, for both clubs. They got sponsors and everything. So I'm glad that you guys need to definitely get together and sort that out, because we want Cup Match to go on. We don't like those incidents that happen, and they could be avoided. It's not the first time this incident happened. I'm playing Cup Match for 15 years, and now it's televised. That's the only thing. So we got to be very careful what you say, what you do, because everything is televised. Before, if the players done that, you could get away with it. Sometimes, but it's always better. But when you start getting physical altercations and stuff like that, that's when you're going over the line. That's not the spirit of cricket. So I'm glad that both clubs you guys need to get together and see if you can iron that out. And I don't know what you're talking about. Something happened before the game. That was happening. It was something to do with a Somerset player or St. George's player. I don't know. I don't know what you were talking about there, but that's not for us to debate. But I was just wondering where that was going to.
Now, Doc, if you want to know, you can ask Trey, and if Mr. Frey wants to know, he can ask Taryn. But it's not an issue for me to speak on it. This matter. It's not a matter for my club to deal with. It's a matter for Somerset to deal with one of their players.
Okay.
I have a question. So between the first day and the second day, it appeared to me that there was an escalation in people's behavior, right? From the first day to the second day. Was there any intervention taking place or measures towards the end of the first day's play to say, this seems to be an issue here, and this is not what we like to see happening? Management of the teams?
I would tell you this, Gov. I'll say this to you, Gov. I personally approached the coach of Somerset to ask him to address a matter with one of his players. It was not addressed. And what I was told is to address it with the president of Somerset Cricket Club, which I have done so.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, because I just looked at those 2 days, and I'm saying about, if we had these incidents on the first day, and then of course we watched the second day, and then the behavior is what I appraise, and in my opinion, it was worse. Was there any intervention taking place, measures taking place at the end of the first day to ensure that they minimize the risk of it repeating itself on the second day?
Yeah, I understand, Gov. And we can only try to do our best. And if those on the field want to take it to an administrative level, which it had to go to, then that's the route that has to be taken, and which hopefully is. Right.
Fair enough.
So, let me ask you, Michelle, Mr. President, sorry. Take us through how you think your team performed overall over the 2 days.
I think they showed more guts and determination that you've seen in a very, very long time. I don't think they was going to lose this game at all from the beginning. There was no chance of them, based on how the week went, that they were going to lose to these guys. They were amped from Monday. They were thoroughly disrespected, and they were amped from Monday. I'll just put it to you that way.
And for the spectators, do you think they were entertained from ball one right through to the final ball of the day?
Yeah, I think it was good cricket. It petered out where both captains realized that there's nothing going to come for it, I'd never thought that once it rained for the 3 hours that Somerset would give us even a chance to go out there, because we had a rather explosive batting lineup that on a good day 240 with Adelray Rollins and Mackay Simmons and Anais Bascom, John T. Smith, Marcus Scotland, and Zico Brothers, and they like get 240 in 20 overs if they put it up. So they were never, I don't think, going to give us a chance to even have a sniff at going and chase that.
Well, let me just say in defense, Doc, when you were skipper of Somerset, St. George's was doing the same thing to you, right? They were going to give you an opportunity.
Like you said how Delray and Onias was betting. Who would give? I wouldn't even give these guys 20 overs to get 300. But it's just cricket. But I'm just saying, like, what probably led up to that, was probably the way how most of the St. George's guys are acting too.
Right.
There's two sides to a coin. The way how I saw it was that they the way how, let's say that's the way how St. George's betted, and the way how Zico came in to build in that period where they got the wickets. And we had the trophy, so it's one of those things where we needed to I think the first innings we should have got more runs, but that's hindsight. But like I said, I think it was the stuff that led up to them betting the as long as they did, that happened on the field. That's just my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm sure Michelle saw what happened on the field. So yeah, I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering now. You guys are going to be dealing with some of your players too.
I said that already. Yeah, we've had the code of conduct applied to our players, and we will apply the code of conduct to the letter of the law.
So, do you just actually? Do you know if any Somerset players got any disciplinary things too? Well, I don't know if you publicly answer that, but
I do not know, as that matter will be dealt with their club. Their disciplinary matters, hopefully, from the match referee would have been sent to them as well.
Okay. So from a standpoint of a leadership of one of the clubs in Cup Match, how do you see us addressing, or how do you see the two clubs addressing the matter at hand?
I think the matter at hand at first has to be dealt with by each individual club, and then collectively a way forward has to be talked about and discussed. At the end of the day, neither club can dictate one way or the other which way it goes unless there is cohesion and a continued collaboration that has been building for the last few years. Then you see the improvement of the game. And a part of that, I think the product of Cup Match has been getting better in the last 5 to 6 years, and we hope to continue that relationship and partnership with Somerset Cricket Club.
I would take it a step further too, where both clubs should be responsible for educating our players on why they're playing for the clubs in Cup Match, and the importance of them behaving themselves and conducting themselves accordingly, because it's a privilege. It's a privilege to play Cup Match. It's not just a given. You know what I mean? And we need to go back to that and try to make sure that our players understand what it takes to represent the crest, which was a good point that you made the night of the presentation, what it really means to represent that crest in Cup Match. And I think a lot of our players lose sight of that, the importance and the respect that's due for those 2 days, because it is a significant 2-day holiday. And it's a lot of money invested in Cup Match. We've got sponsors that's involved. You got fans that are involved. You got people overseas that are very much interested in what the going ons of Cup Match here in Bermuda. It has been so for many, many years, But so we have to protect that at all costs. So maybe there should be some education given to our players, the ones that are selected, and make them understand what it really means to play Cup Match.
Yeah, I believe 100%. So I believe 110% that, and then that point to the crash had a lot to do with what transpired before the game
Mm-hmm.
on Thursday. So
Right.
golf, 110%.
All right, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
What?
I just want to say one more thing. I was very impressed with you guys, coach too this year. On and off the field too. Not only the coaches, most of the players that that you guys at chosen. And like I said, hopefully both clubs could come together and we could start, working on some type of code of conduct for cup match. Even if you guys come up with some plan, look, if you guys act up, we're going to deduct your wages, anything like that. But we need to start doing that because, like you said, too many people's watching all around the world, and sometimes it doesn't look good. But I think you guys, coach and both sets of coach, were really good on the 2 days on and off the field.
They did an excellent job. So for everybody who may not know, there is already in existence a code of conduct for both players. There are playing conditions, there are match rules specifically for cup match, and players hopefully I know on our end do sign a contract. But education in cricket is needed overall. Most players who play every weekend probably don't know the rules of cricket on a whole. So yeah, there is a large education factor that needs to happen in and around cricket in general for the general code of conduct, and the rules need to be applied on a more consistent and weekly basis so that the players are aware of those things.
Yeah. Well, having gone through this, no, I mean you've been through it, as a vice president and as a member of St. George's Cricket Club, but now as the president of St. George's Cricket Club, what are some of the things in the lead up all around cup match that you would like to see improved in 2 years' time when you host a game?
So we're due to have our postmortems to see how it. Part of it is probably logistically gates, the getting people into the game quicker and more efficiently into Wellington Oval. People actually using our back gate instead of just waiting the actual game starting on time. So it's something we try to do, but for a long time the game hasn't started at 10 o'clock. The game generally starts late because of everything that happens before it from both teams, but the game of cricket isn't started on time. The playing of music is something that I thought was a bit better this year, whereas there wasn't that many interruptions to the game. So kudos to those people who had music and camps and abided by what we tried to put forth in terms of our product this year. So thank you to the people of Bermuda for on a whole behaving themselves extremely well at Wellington over the 2 days. There were some incidents, but those are very, very minimal, and hopefully it doesn't overshadow the 2 days of cricket that was played.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned time, because one thing, time is time is time. And I think what we're getting into now, all these things that take place before the game starts is getting in the way of the actual game. And sometimes both clubs are going to have to start saying, no, we're going back to, you walk out at this time, you shake hands, everybody get off the field, it's time for cricket. And until we do that, because we're just letting things manifest to a point where we're starting 10-10, and you can get to a point where you're going to start at 10-20 because everybody wants to be seen before the game. And we've got to make a decision that, time is time is time. Even if you have somebody there that orchestrates what time we do this, for the breakdown of this. The only thing that seems to happen on time, if I'm correct, is a coin toss. Am I right?
Yeah, it generally happens on time, and then you have some of the pregame stuff, which prayers and all that seem to be drawn out in speeches in this night that sort of push the time backwards. But it's something that myself and Richard have done. So we started at 10:03, 3 minutes behind time for this cup match, which is significantly better from previous cup matches.
Right.
But it's not the mark that we actually want to meet. We want first ball to be bowled at 10 o'clock as it changes from 9:59, which is what is written in the match play rules.
Yeah.
I feel that overall, from what I saw the 2 days, the administrative principles were definitely in place, which I give you kudos for that, Mr. President. But one thing that I did see is the seating for the public seating areas. we had many people coming there the night before, putting chairs up on these bleachers, tying them down with rope, and duct tape. And then, it diminishes the ability for people that's coming in to pay and go into the public seating, and those seats that are just sitting there vacant for most of the day. And then, you got people coming along and the all jammed all up because they can't get to those areas where it's barricaded off, and these are in public seated areas. So that's something that I felt that was a bit disappointing. To come there and see 20 chairs up on those bleachers tied down, and majority of the day they weren't even occupied. So that's something that I just thought I'd just throw out there, that may need to be looked at, because you had older people, the senior citizen that normally don't come early in the day, looking for seats and can't get seated in the public areas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just a point for you, Mr. President.
Got you covered, Golf.
Yeah, man.
I also want to I ain't got nothing to talk about that. I'm just I'm very impressed with the field. The grass was green. The wicket was good. I thought it was gonna get supposed to be a green top, but it ended up being I won't say a batsman's wicket. I would say that you just had to build a line and length. But I was very impressed with everything, Michelle. I think you've done a really good job as your first president, because I know it's hard. I've been captain before, and the president's been. It's talked to me, and sometimes it's a job where you guys I know you guys didn't get much sleep, especially a couple of months before, and I'm sure you must be glad now to get a low rest, but it's still not over yet.
Gotta break down, Doc.
I will say, Mr. President, the day that our group visited you and the club, and we got that presentation and tour from you, it was a lot of work that was done between that time and and I came in on the Thursday morning. I got there like 8 o'clock, and I'm looking, I was like, damn, man, all this stuff is done. It's amazing. And the field look a lot more lusher.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know that I appreciate all the work that you guys have put into Cup Match to make it a success, and well done to St. George's Cricket Club.
Thank you, Golf. Thank you, Doc. So part of that is our buildings and grounds chairman, Mr. Haywood. He owns a company called Bermuda Home Spa. We partner with Marriott 360 and 5 Forts, and their lead groundsman is a man named Solomon, along with Kyle Tannick, and they came up with this plan to rejuvenate the surface. So for the first time, probably in my lifetime, the field was aerated.
It was lush.
It was herbicided. It was then seeded. It was fertilized. Mother Nature wasn't acting on our behalf, so it was dry. When you came, Gov, it was probably brown.
Right, it was.
And you probably said, how are they going to get this being green for Cup Match?
I was walking on it, right? It was crunching.
and so we began to enact our plan. And, I have to thank the Department of Works and Engineering as well, and for their help and assistance in terms of, the water. And that's what it needed. It just needed water for everything that we had been planning to come alive. And so we had a timeline that we had to work with of how critical it was. I have to thank Dennis Pilgrim for some of his commentary and insight as well.
Yeah.
And so different consultations, different people, and then the staff that morning and evening that were watering the field to ensure that it could be as good as it was. And they weren't happy with it. They're still not happy with it. They want to improve it even more. So.
And I mean, even the groundsmen, I watch how they moved, and they're very, very assertive, very alert, very aware of what was going on. The communication was good. It was really good between the umpire on duty and the groundsman, and to watch them operate during the rain interval was very impressive, man.
A lot of organizational stuff, a lot of logistical stuff that has to be thought of for Cup Match. So generally you guys will know on a weekend there's only one groundsman. He has to pull the covers. He has to do everything. Whereas if cup match, you have a bit more of a team, and I think that's necessary for the magnitude of the game. So people would have seen we even covered the run-ups. You know what I mean? So that if it did rain hard, that it wouldn't delay the game because the run-ups were too soggy. So they did an excellent job. They did a really, really good job in terms of how they operated and dealt with the rain for the 2 days.
Yeah, most definitely.
Hey, Michelle, let me ask you this. I don't know if it's ever going to come. Just to ease up like the umpires, right? Are you guys looking to do the DRS, at some time, just so we don't have this, type of incidents and stuff? I mean, I know it's an expensive venture, but I think both clubs should talk, at least talk about it and see, how expensive it's going to be, or if they can't be done. I mean, I know it's nice to people talking about bringing in foreign umpires, but sometimes I like to see locals, but they just need a little bit more help, man. I think if that there might help them out a bit.
I think the cost for DRS is anywhere between $250 to $500,000. That's not something that looks or seems viable for cup match right now. I think we have more pertinent stuff that we need to focus on other than DRS. I don't like to comment on the officiating of the game in terms of help and assistance. I think the BCUA can put on additional training sessions. So I'll tell the public this, like, even of a cup match, they had somebody come to work with this young lady, Precious Smith, who's been fast tracked pretty much as one of Bermuda's up and coming umpires. So they had an umpire from the West Indies that we've all seen on TV working there for over the 2 days of cup match as the as an umpire off the field. So things of that nature need to continue and happen, and hopefully the Eastern County Cricket Association, Western Connors, and even Central Connors can start to have their games held to the same standard that cup match is held to in terms of officiating.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to officiating, they're human just like us. They're gonna make mistakes.
They're humans.
They make
They're
mistakes,
humans.
and we shouldn't be judging other people, because we all make mistakes as players and as officials. So at the end of the day, it all balances. The universe has a great way of balancing things out, and so I just hope that the players are on both sides remain humble, because there's going to come a time that you do nick the ball and you're not giving up.
Yeah.
All of us, all play at the game.
We both play.
And then the umpire don't give us up. We're like, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
We've all know the checks and balances, so we know that some days we nick it and we're out, and some days we nick it and we're not out.
That's right.
And, we just have to accept that the good that comes when it comes, and that we're all human, and that's that's the main thing. Dave Chappelle said it once: we're just humans having a human experience.
Yeah, man, exactly. Well done.
If you had anything to say to the general public as the president of St. George Cricket Club, what would that be right now, Michelle?
It'll be thank you. Thank you for coming to Wellington Oval for 2 days of cricket. Thank you for seeing my club make progress in different various phases, on and off the field. And thank you for being advocates of cricket for you guys who keep on pushing this sport forward bit by bit. And that's what it takes. So thank you, Coach, for, Freystar, for even giving me the opportunity to talk to those kids the other day. You know what I mean? It was amazing for me too. Like, you put me in my element. And I thank you for that. And I think, those types of things have to happen more often. Whereas Dov would know, and Doc, they've both been on tour with me.
Right.
That's what it takes. Like, that's what it takes to actually grow and develop this sport that we all love. Like,
because you two, I didn't even know. Okay, you know what I mean? But it was a great experience for the kids, and I think we need to do more of that. You know what I mean?
We have the 2 days of cricket, we have the 2 days of cup match, but the sport has to be grown on a more 365-day perspective and outreach in order for us to actually improve the sport, right? So things like indoor cricket need to be thought of. Things like various adaptations of the game need to come into play if we're actually going to grow and develop this thing we say we love.
Yep.
Totally agree.
We have to build a community of cricket.
Yeah. And what would you say to Somerset?
Thank you for coming as champions and challenge, and providing someone for us to challenge. One thing that we saw this year is that my team didn't They didn't buckle. They didn't run. They actually stood up and said, if you want to buck, we can buck, and if what comes our way, we can handle it. And if we have to be sanctioned, we can handle the sanction, and we'll move on. So from a St. George's Cricket Club standpoint, I say to my players, sometimes we have to, turn down what we have to do. But at the end of the day, this was the first time that we actually really challenged Somerset Cricket Club, and potentially you saw a crack or two. So thank you again for showing us what we have to do to actually dethrone them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I watching the game both days. I think the rain kind of messed it up. Could have been a much more closer game, but who knows what would have happened. But we can't stop. We can. That's Mother Nature, and it was predicted early in the week, and I was kind of hoping that it didn't come, but every day it looked like 30%, 40%, and then of course on the day it was rain, so it kind of messed up what have been a beautiful second day of cricket.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of people still came down to the game,
Yeah,
but
it was a lot of people.
I thought that if it would have started a little earlier, it would have been a very interesting game. Just to see what would have been the outcome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mr. President, I do want to say thank you very much for joining, because I'm pretty sure everybody wants to speak to you. I'm glad you've come on, and had to say there's going to be half of people that will agree, another half that would disagree. My one of the things that I'm hoping that the two clubs do get together to address. As you've already indicated, you're going to do your part, and someone has to do their part, but it's got to be a joint effort in ensuring that it looks like the two clubs are on the same page as far as getting this type of stuff addressed as quickly as possible. You've indicated that you've done that, and having those conversations with those that have been involved and so forth. We've got a public apology to the public for the behavior from St. George's, and St. George's behavior would be appreciated. What's your comment to a comment like that because to be honest, online there's been a lot of talk. But here's an opportunity.
What we say is everybody has an opinion. As my dad told me, there was once a man on earth named Jesus Christ, and he could not make everyone happy. He actually pissed off the Romans, and they stuck him in his side, put a thorn on him and a thing, and sent him onto a cross. So we know that we will never ever be able to make everybody happy, but we will do our best to organize and administrate this game of cricket.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you again. Thank you very much for joining. We'll be back next week, gentlemen. Any final questions for the president of St. George Cricket Club?
No, I'm good. Thanks. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Gov.
And I thank you too for a very good day. Like I said, I had no issues getting into the game, no issues seating. Like I said, I very much enjoyed the field, looking at how lush that grass was, and like I said, Michelle, you're young president, man. I just hope you got. I just wish that everybody's behind you, and you guys can move the club forward.
Thank you, Doc.
All right, Mr. President, thank you very much for joining. Enjoy your. Well, now it's the time to break everything down, isn't it? So the work actually.
You
more
continue.
Hard work. Yeah, more work.
More work to be done.
Because people talk about everything they bring to Cop Match, they have to take it away Friday night, but you still got a lot of work to do to get rid of everything on the grounds and make it look like it's a club ground after such a big event. And I'm pretty sure your counterparts would agree with and with everything that you're going to go through over the next, I guess, month in making sure that it's done safely, as it was putting up, is taken down, and return the grounds to where they were prior.
So it sort of takes the same amount of time that it took to put it up, take it down. Mm-hmm. So it took 2 to 3 months to put it up. It'll take 2 to 3 months to then break it all back down. So it is a task.
Yeah. Any early talks about something permanent?
Well, there have been discussions about making some of these structures permanent, but with making it permanent also comes maintenance fees and having to maintain it on a yearly basis, which then creates a different issue and problem with the level of where we're located to, right on the
Yeah,
ocean on the harbor side.
exactly.
Mhm.
And especially
Okay.
hurricane season too. That stuff. It would be dangerous too.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, folks, we'll be back next week with another edition of the Island Stats Cricket Show right here on islandstats.com. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Sure.
See you later,
Thank you,
man.
guys.
Thanks.